A new book sheds light on the circumstances surrounding John Paul I's death in 1978 after just 33 days. It's written by an Italian journalist who covers the Vatican for the newspaper run by the Italian Bishops' Conference. She's also involved in that process that could lead to possible sainthood for the late pontiff. Juliet Linley is EWTN News Nightly's Vatican correspondent. She joins us from Rome. Juliet, first of all, we know a lot about JP2, but who was JP1 and why was he called the Smiling Pope?
Lauren, Albino Luciani is most famous for being the Pope who reigned for only 1 month. But beyond that, Pope John Paul I was a humble, affable man from the region around Venice, with many of the characteristics and gestures that we see today in Pope Francis. And as my EWTN colleague Joan Lewis says, and remember she was here in Rome when he was elected, goodness, he must have smiled even in his sleep. He was such a gentle human being. You felt you could sit down and have coffee with him, and he had a twinkle in his eye.
You've read the book. What's new in this book?
So, Lauren, the book is written by journalist Stefania Falasca. She's one of the people in charge of studying and presenting the documents for the cause for John Paul I's possible beatification. So, thanks to her position, she was able to make public for the first time the medical records and documents that she had access to, which had never been seen previously. And those medical records show that the late Pope indeed died of natural causes, as was stated immediately after his death in September 78. And they would appear to finally put paid to the conspiracy theories surrounding his death that have circulated since then. And as Vatican Secretary of State Cardinal Pietro Parolin says in the preface to the book, finally those points that were left in limbo are clarified.
Pope John Paul I is being considered for sainthood. Where is he in that canonization process?
So today, the cardinals and bishops who are involved in the beatification process of John Paul I voted on recognizing his heroic virtues. Now, that's the first step towards a possible canonization. The next step is that Pope Francis must give his approval for John Paul I to become venerable. And after that, a new process begins towards beatification and eventually becoming a saint.
Juliet Linley, thank you so much for joining us, giving us that insight. EWTN News Nightly Vatican correspondent.
Thank you, Lauren.